Marty Supreme is insane and not at all what I expected it to be. There was a lot of chatter leading up to this movie or us watching this movie. We've been hearing for months about how great it is, how great Timothée Chalamet is. This got nominated for, I don't know, a ton of Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, you name it. It got caught up in some like weird culture war stuff online in regards to Sinners and like which movie's better, Michael B. Jordan versus Timothée Chalamet, and like who was the better actor in their respective films. The marketing campaign for Marty Supreme is unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. They had Timothée Chalamet like on the moon, like talking about this movie. Like he was doing all sorts of crazy shit. There was just a lot of stuff going into this movie that like really made me believe like that this was some sort of like psyop, like it couldn't have been a good movie at all. But we had to watch it leading up to Oscar season. So I think this movie is a really good example of why you kind of got to block out that noise, like why the internet, social media, and all that stuff is just like, it doesn't belong in the movie industry or the movie watching hobby at the very least. Like just watch something on your own and make up your own opinions on it and go into it with fresh eyes. And this was directed by Josh Safdie. It was written by Josh Safdie and Ronald Bronstein. It's loosely inspired by the life of 1940s and 50s table tennis champion and hustler Marty Reisman. Timothée Chalamet stars as a fictionalized character named Marty Mauser. This movie is basically about Marty living in Manhattan in the 1950s. He's a young man. He's got this really big dream of becoming a famous ping-pong champion and international superstar, and the lengths that he will go to achieve that goal, and that is to do everything imaginable that it takes and step on really whoever gets in your way, and not even who gets in your way, just anybody in your orbit, using them for whatever they could provide you to achieve your goal is really what this movie is about. It actually reminded me in many ways of Breaking Bad, where you're watching this selfish guy who will literally stop at nothing to get what he wants, and it doesn't matter who he hurts in the process.
I can see the similarity with Breaking Bad, but at the same time, you had a little bit of empathy for Walter White at the beginning of Breaking Bad because he's a normal guy. Yeah. He's a good guy that turns into a killer and a bad guy he becomes. Like, you see this progression, whereas, like, I don't know, Marty is kind of a narcissistic asshole right out the gate, and you just don't really like him. This kid got this gift, man. That's terrible that he's wasting like this. What a shame.
What a shame.
It's an interesting story. I don't know that I think that I thought it was a good movie. Nothing blew me away about it, is I guess what I'll say about it.
You do start out not really rooting for him because you're like, wow, this guy's really unlikable. At least I found myself rooting for him towards the end of the movie. Not that he's going to become this wildly successful superstar, but that he would actually like come to understand like what he's doing and like why it's bad, and that like he's really living this like empty life and he could have so much more if he just appreciates the people around him.
Yeah, I agree that it is an interesting story. I hate to trivialize it, but it honestly just felt like Uncut Gems, but with ping pong instead of jewels.
It did a little bit, yeah.
It was a good movie, not great. It did drag on a bit during some parts. It wasn't really that deep of a movie that moved me in any meaningful way. That doesn't make it bad. Like, it still had great acting and cinematography, but not too much there for me.
I loved the fact that the movie uses 80s music despite being set in the 1950s. And I was reading that he did that to kind of represent Marty's like intense, ahead of his time ambition, and to mirror the 1980s as an era of reimagining the American dream, which was established in the 1950s. That opening scene, like with the sperm and stuff, and like,
oh yeah,
set to the 80s music. I thought that was dope. I was like, that locked me in after that. I was like, okay, I'm liking this.
It actually was jarring for me. I think you explaining the reasoning behind it definitely makes it make more sense in my head, but
yeah,
it was a little jarring.
I thought the cinematography in this movie was great. It actually looked like a real movie for once.
For once.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get that a lot. I mean, listen, these movies that we're watching now, these last couple of weeks and going forward to the next couple of weeks, like, they're all nominated for Best Picture. Like, there's a reason why. You know what I mean? It's not just because. And I think that was the most enlightening thing going into this. If you listen to like a lot of the online chatter, you can get yourself thinking like, is this movie really worth it? Like, is it worthy of the hype that it's getting? It is. I mean, it's a great movie, I think. I mean, whether you enjoyed it or not, or whether
it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I'll say again, it's a good movie, not great. I don't think it's worthy of Best Picture. I think Chalamet did a great job. Like, that's a good nomination.
He was great.
Best Picture, though, I don't know if it's Best Picture worthy.
Yeah, I think it's overhyped a little bit. I think it's a good movie. It's an interesting story for a time period biopic, but is it 9 nominations worthy?
Right.
No.
That's questionable.
Absolutely not.
I do think this is one of the best movies of the year. Yeah, but I don't think it is the best movie of the year. That's the difference. Like,
Yeah.
I
like a movie like this sometimes, but also I feel like we're kind of getting inundated with these type, because people go to the movies to like
how would you classify
the seriousness of what's going on, the seriousness of the character, that like, I don't know, just the
I understand what you're saying. You had
people go to the movies to escape, but not to like sit down and be anxiously turned up by some narcissist asshole who you can't like or relate to. You're just like watching this guy's story.
Maybe I'm a piece of shit because I related with him. I related with his sarcasm specifically, like the way he communicates and how he's just always in this like he just has this unrelenting sarcasm. I found it very funny, actually.
It's the New York bias.
You think so?
The New York bias.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I come off like Marty to you guys? Am I a piece of shit? Do I have to reevaluate my life?
Well, I agree with you. The cinematography was great. I didn't mind the audio track. I thought it was just fine.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
Really take me out of it too much, but just the story has a pretentious feel to it. Like, and I kind of get it relating to him on certain points, but
you don't see beneath like that there is like a redeeming character arc here. Like by the end of the movie, he sees his baby, breaks down, and realizes like, wow, everything that I thought was important before this very moment is nothing now, and like I want to devote my life to this kid. And I understand what my friend was telling me.
Yeah, I get it. I just rather see that in something that I can relate to. I can't relate to anything in that movie that's going on except for what you said at the end. Oh yeah, like if you peel all that stuff away, like I don't relate to anything in the movie except the story. Then it's like, yeah, my daughter is very important to me. Yes, thank you. I knew that already. I would like to relate to that on a different level, not in a way that is jarring and
that's fair,
like, uncomfortable.
While yes, this guy's life journey and narcissism and stuff is not something that you could directly relate to, but if you peel back the layers of the movie, it is something that we could all relate to, because we all have these like grander aspirations that maybe sometimes we get a little bit too obsessed with. Maybe not in the same extreme way that he does, but that's what's cool about storytelling, is it is relatable a lot of the time, even when it doesn't seem like it is. That's all I'm trying to say.
It was an okay story. I mean, I can relate to the guy, but it is extreme, right? Because he's like a egomaniac and like narcissist guy, right? But you can still relate to him.
Well, yeah, you can also feel a little empathy for him because he's getting kind of a little bit at the end there by the league or whatever. That's like, yeah, no,
yeah.
I mean, he does it to himself a little bit too, so you don't feel bad. But you're like, these snobs don't want him.
Me personally, I don't know that I always have to like feel like I have to relate to something. Like I think I'm pretty good at like, again, it's not a skill set. Like you're not lacking in not doing it. It's just a matter of taste. But I'm like pretty okay with like just kind of sitting there and watching something that I have no experience with or relation to whatsoever. Like I was pretty, I don't want to say on the edge of my seat, but I found the movie pretty exciting and tense a lot of the time. So like I found it really enjoyable. And a lot of it was probably carried by the acting. I thought the acting in the movie was phenomenal, like straight down the cast. Timothy Chalamet was obviously great. Gwyneth Paltrow was awesome for the time she was in the movie. Odessa Asian was great as his girlfriend, friend Rachel. Tyler, the Creator, was great in it.
I like Tyler, the Creator. I love their hustle.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like the Rounders, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah. They had a great dynamic. He was funny.
Yeah, and he was
like you said, he stepped on everyone, and that's the part that is hard to look past as far as learning to like him as a character. Just the fact that he was willing to abuse everyone around him.
Well, that's the weakness of the movie, I think, that I had, is that it doesn't do, the movie's very fast paced, and it doesn't, I don't think, do a great job of of allowing him to earn that redemption at the end of the movie, because we don't see the journey to it. It's just like he's piece of shit, piece of shit, piece of shit, piece of shit. And then all of a sudden he sees his baby and he's like, oh, okay, well, I was a piece of shit. Speaking of the acting, though, I think the acting in this movie was so good that it even made a piece of shit, like a real life human piece of shit like Kevin O'Leary look good. Because he was actually great in this movie, regardless of being a cocksucker billionaire in real life.
I didn't even recognize him until you just said his name.
Yeah.
Like I knew it. He looked familiar, but I was like, okay, he's just some like actor guy. But now that you say that, I'm like, oh shit, it's that guy.
Mr. Wonderful.
Like, and he was good as hell in this movie.
The dynamic was very funny. The delivery was great. But yeah, I mean, overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was better than I expected it was going to be, or I thought I liked it more than I expected I was going to, given the marketing and all the hype around it. I thought I was going to go into it being like, man, this was not that great. Like I expected to come in here and be like, nah, I can't believe we watched this fucking thing.
I thought it was going to be the psyop that we all thought it was based on the crazy marketing, but it lived up. Maybe not 100%, but a good portion of the hype was definitely deserved. Like I wish not everything would have fallen through for him. Basically, like he gets the win at the end, but I wish he could have gotten a little bit more positive.
Yeah, well, you started saying what I was going to say. I actually wish there was more redeeming stuff in the movie. Like even if they drip fed you it, like little glimpses of it.
Maybe the story is you're not supposed to see anything redeeming because he's unredeemable, because you see like hopefully this kid changes his life, but you don't know. He gets go on to continue to be a narcissistic asshole and use the kid to get ahead.
Maybe, I didn't know Ping-Pong was this big. Like Ping-Pong is touched on in Forrest Gump as like a thing. But I looked it up. It was actually it was actually like really big in the 50s and 60s, and it became like an actual like diplomacy tool. They called it ping-pong diplomacy because this was post-war. We dropped bombs on Japan, and like ping-pong competitions was used to sort of like bridge the two nations together again diplomatically. It was very bizarre that this was like the thing, because I was wondering in this towards the end of the movie, they made it like a really big deal that like Eno, the Japanese guy, lost, like where it was like a cultural disappointment. And I was like, why was it so important that they won? But it was important because it was like one of the few things that they held over the United States at a time when like the United States was occupying Japan.
Right. Yep.
So it's like it was like that. It was symbolic of them like beating their oppressors, which was us, the United States. And you know, thinking of all the stuff that happened between Japan and the United States back then, you know, after Pearl Harbor, we were putting Japanese people in internment camps here in the United States. We occupied the Pacific and dropped, you know, obviously nuked the shit out of them for no reason, and like all this stuff. So, yeah, there was a lot of that stuff in the movie too, but like it was all very little like subtle stuff that like I had to like proactively look into or come up with on my own. I don't know if the movie really purposefully was meaning to do that, like, because that added like a whole new layer to his narcissism of like, wow, he's here in Japan showboating for his own benefit, not really thinking of the fact that like this has actually a lot of cultural significance to the Japanese people who were there. Do we think it lived up to the hype that we got leading up to it? I think it did, personally. How about you, Dusty?
It's not worth 9 nominations, so no.
Okay, Marvin?
I don't think anything could have lived up to the hype that this movie had. It was just a ridiculous amount of hype. So
really,
I think they just, it was just too much.
Okay.
I think it was a good movie. Like I said, good, not great. Nothing could have lived up to this insane amount of hype and propaganda. That they put out for this. So.
Well, it has an 8.0 on IMDb. That's very high. You don't get much higher than that very often. I agree with that rating. I would give this an 8.
I'm going to give it a slight downgrade. It's probably like a 7.5.
Okay.
I give this a 7. I think it's good. The acting is pretty good. The cinematography, the music's not bad.
That's fair.
They didn't like the character, and thus didn't like the movie as much as I thought I would. So I thought I was going to like this more. I actually been looking forward to watching this. So when I watched it, I was like, dang.
Leave a comment down below, folks. Let us know what you thought of Marty Supreme. If you've watched it, do you think it's worth? Do you think this is the best movie of the year? Leave your thoughts.